Hi guys, Mr. Waffles here. There's a whole bunch of really interesting looking zombies games coming out later this year and next year as well, and today I figured I would run through 7 upcoming zombie games that I think look really cool, I'm gonna be probably covering on the channel when they release, and that you might be interested in as well. The first one actually comes out really soon, in 3 days from the posting of this video on the 16th of April. It's called World War Z, and as you can see, it's got a stupidly large number of zombies in it. Like, how they've managed to cram this many zombies on screen in one game that looks this good as well at the same time, I don't know. And it kind of looks like a cross between Left 4 Dead and The Division. Like, they're not going for the cover shooter mechanics of The Division by the looks of things, but they've got that kind of vibe to it, and they've then also got that kind of Left 4 Dead vibe of going through missions, doing objectives, and there just being an insane number of zombies on screen just coming at you at all times that you need to deal with. It's being published by Focus Home Interactive, and it turns out that they've got another game coming out that they're publishing called A Plague Tale: Innocence. Now, this game isn't a zombie game technically, but it's kind of playing with those sorts of ideas, like the Black Death and Plague and all sorts of that stuff. It looks pretty interesting, so I figured I'd give it a kind of nod here, seeing as I think it looks pretty cool. The next game on our list is called Back 4 Blood, and this is one that you might not have heard about yet, but that could end up being one of the best games on this list, genuinely. It's being made by Turtle Rock Studios, and the devs there are some of the original Left 4 Dead devs from way back in the day, so there's some serious game dev talent working on this project. There isn't any gameplay of it out just yet, but we know that it's a co-op zombies FPS, so pretty similar sounding to Left 4 Dead. It isn't just Left 4 Dead 3, even though it's got that same kind of naming convention of Back 4 Blood. They say that it's their own brand new original IP. You'll be able to shoot up a lot of zombies like in Left 4 Dead, but there's a whole load of new stuff in Back 4 Blood which makes it unique. It's being developed for Unreal Engine 4, and when asked if there are going to be playable zombies or not, they said there are playable mutations zombies, whatever the hell that means. Regardless, I'm really interested in this one just based on the fact that it's got some of those original Left 4 Dead devs working on the project. There's no release date for it just yet. They're still very early in the kind of announcement process for it, so one to keep an eye on for sure. Now, the next game does have a release date, which is really soon, just like the World War Z game. It's April 26th for this one, and the game's name is Days Gone. It's a game that's been in development for quite a long time. Like, you've probably seen this for a couple of years now with trailers floating around and things like that, and it's another game with a stupidly large number of zombies in it. Like, they've really just bumped up the zombie count in this compared to what you might be used to in a Call of Duty Zombies or some similar title. It's PlayStation exclusive this time, and it's being developed by Bend Studios and obviously published by Sony, seeing as it's PlayStation exclusive. In my opinion, the fact that it's being published by Sony like this is probably a good sign, because as far as my experience goes at least, those sorts of games tend to work out pretty well. I'm definitely going to be trying to get my hands on this one to review and cover on my channel, so you can stay tuned for coverage of it. Days Gone comes out on April 26th. Now, I showed you World War Z, and I showed you Days Gone, and they've both got a lot of zombies, but this game has the most zombies, I'm pretty sure. Its name is The Black Masses, and I mean, just look at your screen. Just look at your screen right now, and let that image just sink into your brain for a second. Let it just sink right in. There are just so many zombies. It's insane. It's actually nuts. Now, this isn't quite on the scale of a World War Z or a Days Gone or something like that. Those are going to be absolutely huge games, no doubt. This one is a little bit smaller scale, I would say. It's an open-world, first-person fantasy co-op RPG, which sounds like a lot of buzzwords, but the key detail for how they've managed to cram so many zombies in is that it's built on the foundations of the ultimate epic battle simulator. So you've got epic battle technology basically powering epic battles instead of with armies, with zombies this time. Its release date on Steam is listed as spring 2019, so it should be coming pretty soon, and it's being developed and published by Brilliant Game Studios. It's a game that has a pretty sort of straightforward plot. You end up on an island. The island essentially has some kind of virus thing on it, which is this black substance that turns everyone into zombies. You've got to try and find a way to put it right, but in the meantime, you've got to either avoid all the zombies, so I think there's going to be some kind of stealth mechanics in this one, or you can just plow through them head on with all sorts of crazy stuff actually fighting the hordes themselves. Next on our list is a game that is not coming out in spring 2019. This one is probably coming out in 2020, let's be real. I don't think it's going to be coming in 2019, but I would love for it to come in 2019. It's probably the most notorious game on this list, because it's Half-Life 3. No, I'm kidding. It's The Last of Us Part 2. This is obviously the sequel to a game that left an absolutely undeniable mark on the games industry because of how incredibly it managed to tell its story, how connected you felt to the characters in the world, and how it really dug into some deep issues in friendship and family and things along those lines, which have been explored many times in video games, but it managed to do it in a theater of blood and gore and violence, and it was incredible. And The Last of Us Part 2 seems like it's going to be doing exactly that again, and I absolutely can't wait for it. It's going to be a phenomenal game whenever it comes out, whether it's on this current gen of hardware or whether it's on the next gen of hardware with the PS5 or whatever that's going to be. I'm going to obviously be covering it on the channel and giving it some love because the first game was phenomenal. And I tried to get into it the first time I played it and didn't really click with it. And then the second time I came back to it and I was like, what? How did I not like this the first time? This is phenomenal. The story is fantastic. I can't wait. I just can't wait. Right, I think it's time for a short intermission here to talk about a game that isn't really a zombie game, but again, it's just worth talking about a little bit, and I might end up making a full dedicated video about this because I think this thing looks really damn cool. Darkborn is a game that is being made by The Outsiders. It's a game that used to be referred to as Project White, but it kind of got renamed recently, and this game just looks so weirdly awesome. It's all about these kind of werewolf monster things, and one of the best ways that I've seen it described is, imagine you're in Skyrim, right? And you're just slashing away, killing a lot of werewolves, and then you switch places, and you're the werewolf, and your whole family is being killed in front of you by this marauding, murderous Dovahkiin fellow, and you've got to figure out a way to get revenge. That's Darkborn, and that's why I'm excited about this game. I think that sounds goddamn awesome. I'm really hopeful they play with a load of Norse mythology. I think they're going to, which is really exciting, and I wanted to squeeze it in this list because, okay, it's not quite zombies, but it's pretty close, and it might have some zombie-type things in it as well. Who knows? Either way, it looks fantastic. Now then, the next one on the list is one that a lot of my long-time viewers will be very familiar with. It's Call of Duty Zombies for 2019, whatever the hell that means. So we might be getting Modern Warfare 4 this year as the next Call of Duty game, and if we are getting Modern Warfare 4, there's probably not going to be a zombies mode in it because it couldn't be Infinite Warfare Zombies 2, and it's not going to be some new zombie mode, or at least we can assume not, and especially how Zombies has gone this year, it sort of leaves you in a position thinking that there's probably not going to be zombies in this game. They'll probably do some kind of other survival thing entirely, or they might just do Spec Ops or something. However, that doesn't mean there's going to be no zombies in 2019 coming from Call of Duty. In fact, it's much more likely that what we're going to get is a Season 2 for Black Ops 4 Zombies. And so we'll get midway through the Chaos and Ether stories by the end of this season, and then we'll go through a new season starting at the end of 2019 and rolling through towards the end of 2020, and that will basically contain another full Zombies maps from Treyarch for both Chaos and Ether. And finally, the last game mentioned on my list, but not actually the last game mentioned in this video because I just remembered another zombie game that I want to talk about. This one is going to be Dying Light 2. We saw announcements for this at E3 last year. It's something that has been kind of building up for a little while now, and it's a game that I absolutely am praying the devs take their time on so they don't rush it out, they don't try and sort of squeeze it out of the gate, and instead they just craft a game that they're super happy with before releasing it, and then drop an absolute bombshell of zombies craziness into our laps without us even realizing. Like, I'm really hopeful they get this one right at launch. It's got a huge amount of potential in my opinion, but we don't have a date for it as far as I know just yet. So I don't think this is going to be coming in 2019. This one will probably be more like 2020 or even 2021, maybe, but I'd say 2020 is a decent bet. Okay, the actual last game on this list today is Dead Island 2. Now, I know I'm sticking my hands in the air right now. You gotta believe me. I know that this game is pretty likely to never see the light of day, but I wanted to include it here because doesn't this just look glorious? doesn't it look so good? Dead Island 1 was actually a game that I really, really enjoyed despite its flaws, and I would just love to see a Dead Island 2 actually release, especially as it's had such a troubled development and we don't even really know if it's actually in dev right now still or not. I think it is, but I mean, it seems to change on a daily basis whether or not this is actually something that's going to be coming out. I don't think we'll see it in 2019. I don't really think we'll see it in 2020, but I'd love to see it at some point. I just would love to see it because Dead Island, it's got a special place in my heart, and although that first game was a little bit scuffed, it was just great, man. Sam B, the big lad, shoulder charging his way through all those zombies was a fantastic time for me, at least, and I would just like to see more. So that's going to wrap up our list with something that's a little hopeful for the future, but a game that I can't really officially include because, I mean, who knows if it's ever going to actually happen. I have been Mr. Waffles. Drop a like if you're excited for some of these zombie games, guys, and let me know which ones you want me to cover on the channel when they eventually release. I'll be covering World War Z, I'll be covering Days Gone. There's plenty of good stuff coming up in that regard, but I'm always open to more suggestions from you guys. Thanks, I've been Mr. Waffles. See you next time. Bye for now.